So 21 years ago, I decided to take a little shopping trip at Walmart. It was more of a shoplifting trip than a shopping trip. But in any case, I showed up, did what I did, and tried to leave out quietly. Unfortunately, I had been stopped by a floor walker who had already notified law enforcement of my theft. I realized in that moment I had two choices: surrender peacefully, or attempt to flee, which was only going to cause me more problems. So I surrendered peacefully. I was detained, and once it was confirmed that I did in fact steal the merchandise, I was arrested, charged, and trespassed. Now, given the fact that I was on a downward spiral of active addiction for a good year and a half before I hit rock bottom, these types of instances happened quite a few times. Fortunately for me, I surrendered without issues every time I was apprehended. You see, even in active addiction with a distorted mentality, I still had the basic understanding that I had committed crimes and that accountability was getting ready to be doled out. Even when I broke curfew while I was on parole, my parole officer gave me a call. He said, "What happened?" I told him the truth. He said, "Don't leave, I'm coming for ya." So I did what I thought was best. I went upstairs, I put on 3 pair of underwear, 3 pair of socks, a sports bra, 2 white t-shirts, my jailhouse sweats, and a pair of sneakers, and I waited for him to show up. I didn't flee, I didn't abscond, I didn't go commit new crimes, because I understood that by doing those things, I was only going to create more problems for myself. This recent situation is really no different. For those of you claiming she showed up to peacefully protest, which is within her lawful right, first of all, you're wrong. Her intent was to impede on the investigation. And in doing so, she impeded the flow of traffic, actively breaking 2 laws. And even after committing those 2 very specific crimes, the officers gave her ample time to leave. At least the duration of the time that he spent walking around her vehicle, she could have left. She chose not to. It wasn't until she realized she was about to be detained that she attempted to flee, at which point she struck the officer with her vehicle. Now, please don't misunderstand this as she deserved to die. Nobody deserves to die. However, it must be understood that none of this had to happen. And it should go without saying that you should learn from this. Going forward, understand that choices have consequences, so navigate carefully. Hope that helps. God bless.